even one.
It's not low.
No.
It's doing good though.
That beam underneath there.
Okay, now you're level.
Keeps it up.
If there's a
I
level
know.
meter over here,
I know. It moves so far. I just eyeball it.
I trust that better than my eyeballs.
Oh no.
Maybe it's the floor though. That's probably, it might be the floor. Does it look level to you?
So it's level. Actually, it looks like it's going this way.
Might be the floor though.
I've already seen it.
That's right. Well, let's get started. We don't have a whole lot to do tonight, but something's pretty important, so let's try to get going here. And I'm always honored to have Joe Howard come up, Zion Baptist Church in Dry Ridge. I don't know him quite a while, so Joe, if you want to say the prayer and we'll pledge allegiance to the flag.
Our Heavenly Father, we come to you, Lord. We lift this meeting up before you, Father. But Lord, you're in control, you're in charge of everything, dear God. Even the governments, dear Lord, sometimes we think we are, but God, you're the leader in all things. We ask you to bless this meeting tonight, Father, and let your peace reign in the hearts of the people, dear God. And we'll all turn to thee for guidance, dear God, and your help, Father, in opening things up and doing things, dear God. For you are the leader, dear God. You're the great I am, and you know what we need, Father. Is put in the hearts of the people, dear God, to feed your sheep, feed your people, dear God, to lead them in the right way, Father, and do what's right to everyone. So we thank you, dear God, for this privilege, Lord, they've given me to be here tonight. We ask you to bless each and every one here, Father. And Lord, take them back to the homes safely, and we thank you, Lord, again for having us here. In our precious Son, Jesus' name, we ask you, and amen. God bless you.
Amen. There's a flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Joe, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. You take care. Have a good night. Thank you. Citizens address. Come on up, young lady.
In our last meeting, we heard from the highway department that there was an overrun on the paving contract by Blue Rest paving. And there was a decision on the table whether or not the fiscal court would entertain the possibility of paying more through a change order that they would, I guess, potentially submit. And I really just want to say that I have a significant amount of experience in managing contracts on both sides, both as a consumer as well as a proposer. And this was a firm fixed price, low bid contract, is my understanding, through an invitation for bid process. Generally, a contractor is not going to give you back money if they deliver under their budget. So my feeling as a taxpayer is that we should not, that you should consider not making them well on the contract. This would set, in my opinion, a bad precedence for other contractors, specifically in the IFB arena. When you go to award a contract, if there were other contracts that were proposed that were substantially higher in the future, that would raise a little bit of a red flag to then call in the selected low bidder who would be pending final review of the validity of their proposal. And that would be like perhaps a process moving forward when there's a contractor that bids significantly lower than the other two. That should kind of send a red flag that they maybe didn't understand the scope or maybe bought the job or whatever was their measure. I just wanted to say that really, it's unfortunate for them, but this happens in private industry quite frequently, and I don't believe that, given the financial situation of the county, we should consider paying them the extra.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
What's the reach there last thing you heard on the bridge on Delaney Road?
I met today with transportation. It's still delayed. The railroad will not call, I'm serious, the railroad will call the state bank. And we're ready to get it going. It's been approved and everything, but the railroad is holding up for some reason. And I'll be honest, I don't know. I was at a transportation meeting today talking about it. And they can't get the railroad to call them back. They don't want to start yet. I've already given permission to tear the bridges down. They're existing. And I'll got a number I can call tomorrow, but I know that's been a real burden on y'all out there. I don't blame you.
You know, right now, I can't,
I
if
know.
we have a fire there, that legally that fire engine can't even cross.
You're absolutely right.
I'm paying for fire protection on both sides of the road down there,
You are.
and
Steve, I know when I had emailed for a status update a few weeks ago, they were originally supposed to break ground in October.
Yeah.
But I believe, frankly, that it is politics at its finest being played at this point from the contacts that I've made, and that there's a push at the Frankfurt level to increase taxes, I believe possibly gas tax, and there's not a lot of opposition or a lot of support to increase that tax, so they're just pushing back projects. Because if you remember, those bridges were part of the governor's 7-year plan, then they got modified to the 2-year plan, but it's gonna probably look to be more like a 3 to 4-year plan, and they had said that right now it's the railroad that needs to approve a permit, and that it will probably
It's
be more
disgusting,
like
and
the
I don't blame
springtime.
being irritated. I agree with you. For 4 years, I've been trying, I ain't called the railroad, they don't even turn my phone. I finally talked to one guy. He said they were gonna go on and do it.
And see, you're right, and they were gonna break ground. This has been probably 4 months ago when they had gotten the permits, so they said that it was at the state level, and then the latest I got said it's actually in the railroad's lap to approve the plans, and that they predict possibly by springtime they would be ready to break
The
ground.
railroad would be in their best interest to do what we wanna do one bridge and do the at ground level crossing along with the lateral road. That would be good for them too. I don't know why their fight is so bad.
you mean just put in a grade crossing?
Yeah, there's gonna be one grade crossing, and then the Delaney Bridge will have a bridge, but then we'll have a connector between the lane the land crossing and where the bridge is. There's gonna be a lane right there, right, runs parallel with the railroad.
Yeah, I was gonna say just a grade crossing wouldn't work for us, cause that's a double track, and half the time there's a train sitting there.
I know.
And you know, traffic's gonna be backed up clear to Corinth or Williamstown, trying to get in there. There's a lot of traffic on that road.
I know there is.
I don't know where they all come from or where they're all going to,
But I'll tell you what,
Support.
what's your name?
RK Walker.
I'll call the railroad contact I got tomorrow and see what I can do. I'll call them. And I'm sorry,
Did you say it's R.K. Walter?
RK Walker, W-A-L-K-E-R.
and I'm sorry I can't do more than that. I feel like the match feels the same way too. We've been real frustrated by it. It's just, the railroad is,
Well, and Steve, they had came here, the Department of Transportation was here, springtime, of which the right-of-ways were approved. Then, and then they were still working with some property owners, because there's 3 different projects through there. But now, like I said earlier, what I've been told is they're utilizing those projects as leverage until they get the support to pass whatever it is they want to pass at Frankfurt. And I thought, that's just really terrible, because the funding's there.
What's gonna happen, there's gonna be something down in that bridge is gonna go down with somebody, cause I know there's things crossing that's over the load limit.
oh, they are?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's wrong.
And if that thing caves in, then the railroad's gonna have a mess right there in the middle of the railroad, plus somebody's gonna be dead, you know, so,
Well, we got a sign up there. I would say, but the railroad would be liable for that.
yeah.
But they probably won't do anything
Well,
about it.
they're gonna have to move a bunch of dead people and
Yeah.
vehicles to.
They're the worst people to work with I've ever in my life. I mean, that's sincerely. They are so arrogant and so uppity. It's a joke trying to work with them. I was talking to the state today of the meeting, and they said they can't even return their phone calls.
Well, on top of that, our road is in pitiful shape. We've got holes in that road that you can bury a horse in.
Okay,
And,
I'll get back out there, I haven't been out there for a while.
and it's caved in, just below my house, the road is caved in over almost to the edge of the road. I'm looking to see a vehicle.
Was that when the rain came?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's been that way all summer.
Yeah.
They came out and looked at it, but they never did do anything about it, so.
It's on Mr. Tatum's list, because ask him how many times I pretty much wore him out.
That's one of the slips.
That's
we're
one of the slips.
Waiting
There.
on money for.
Well,
They're
and
right in front of his
with that
house.
particular area, but there's various other areas, and those are under, Steve, if you wanna give them an update on those, the various road slippages that we have, and that, you know,
Well,
we've got state funding, but waiting for FEMA to declare.
Steve, you probably ought to speak up, in the last.
That's one of them. We're waiting on FEMA's what we're waiting on for the money.
Well, it's not only that, but on down Brock Road too, I mean, that, where it ties into that road, and it's,
They're bad, they're,
Have you been out there, Steve?
he's.
I'm sure it's on your list, and you know,
Well aware.
not to make excuses. but
Well aware.
We've had a long list after last winter, about rough winter. And it's been, and you, are you still short two guys? You better get some heart out there.
Next meeting, I got one to put on there.
Okay. How many you got total, 9? 8?
8 count me.
I might go back to work myself, you give me a truck, some asphalt.
Come on up, RK. We'll take care of it.
Steve, did that see a
Just a question.
You all put some blacktop down on Delaney?
Blanchard, we did.
Blake.
David?
The federal government basically runs a railroad. Why don't we get a hold of Thomas Massey and explain that to him and just bring some power down from above, especially the safety issue, the concerns, and that we're not getting any action out of the railroad, no response, and the state's the same way, and something's got to be done. I mean, he's our representative, and he should be able to swing some weight
Hey, Dave.
and push down on them.
Not to contradict you, but you sure the federal government runs the, I don't.
They have
Yeah, you have
they
the
have
FRA.
oversight on the railroad.
Yes.
Well,
They
and just
do.
to clarify,
It's interstate and all that other stupid stuff, so.
It's all controlled by the government.
Yeah, so all we got, I think if you get all, and also, McConnell's wife is in charge of transportation. What's her name? She's, yeah.
well, just to clarify, anytime I've ever connected with the state, they respond right away and provide updates. But I do agree that, and I've even asked, are there other things we could do, other people we need to be talking to, because it's every month, it's pushed back further and further, because we were very excited when those projects went from the 7-year plan to the 2-year modified plan, but here we are a year later, basically, with little progress made.
Yeah, I thought they'd be working on bridges right now.
Who is it that is the railroad that we've been talking to?
Who is it, the what?
Who is it that you've been talking to, and who's representing the railroad?
I apologize, I got his name downstairs, I got his phone number, but I don't have it.
I just was wondering if he's from the AAR or the FRA, who would be concerned with safety.
Well, and I can tell you this, one of our bridge inspectors lives in this county, and they are out there because I get phone calls from you citizens, and I call them, which I totally agree. I have expressed to the state, I don't know that those bridges are going to last long enough before the construction even
Those
breaks
bridges
ground.
were built for horses and buggies.
That's exactly
That's,
right.
that's how old they are.
You're right, you're
And that's
right.
what went across them. Now there's big loads that goes across it.
I believe I got a copy of an email last week where Les had sent that, the guy's last name is Chambers, and I can't
Yeah,
remember. his
Chambers.
Elbridge?
Elbridge Chambers, yeah.
With the railroad. And so Les has been talking to them as well about the danger of the bridges and the overpass.
Or like ambulances too, and stuff like that,
And I'd send pictures, if you send a message to Thomas Massey, I'd send some pictures along with it. I mean,
Okay. I'll call Tom tomorrow. I'll call Thomas. I think I get over what I got is.
Stephen, I could forward you the emails that I've sent with the latest
Okay.
on there for him, because I feel like it's just a matter of time. Before something terrible happens.
Okay, if there's nothing else. Thanks for coming up. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll do the approval of the minutes, last meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of October 1st regular meeting.
I second.
Call roll, Pat.
Magistrate Newman,
Yes.
Magistrate Riley,
Yes.
Magistrate O'Donnell.
Yes.
Would you sign this one again?
Now we'll go to fiscal matters, and we'll present for review the motion to approve the claims drawn on the general fund, road fund, and jail fund dated October 22nd, along with transfers as presented.
I did have a question on the road fund. I noticed that we had that, I guess it's probably the first payment on the bridge on Heathen Ridge.
Yeah,
Now, do we have to wait for that full amount to be paid before we file?
No, we have to pay the bill.
and
Then,
send a copy.
then when I get the check back, the canceled check, I send them the invoices, the canceled check, and then they send us our money.
Okay, but that's not for the full amount from what?
80/20.
Yeah, remember it's 80/20.
Yeah, I do remember it's 80/20, but
She was, I think she was referencing is that amount that's paid.
the
is
English
that-
Foundation.
We have to pay the 100% upfront.
Yeah, but it's cheaper
But
than
it's-
what was originally,
Yes,
that's what she was asking.
No, there's two bills there that equal 225,000. One is for the bridge,
okay, I see.
one is for English Foundations that did the bridge work, the concrete work, the materials and all of that. The bridge actually came in here on a truck, didn't it, Steve?
I see.
Okay, so
Steel.
one bill is for the bridge to E&H Grady.
Right.
The other bill is for the,
Okay, so that's fine. They'll be able to be filed just as soon as we can do
yeah.
that. Because I know it will probably, affect the cash position of the road fund quite a bit with those two.
Yeah, I think we'll get it in here in plenty of time. I don't
Okay,
think we're gonna be in trouble with that.
Okay.
It's bluegrass paving, what road was that for, Steve?
That was the road.
Bennett.
That was
Bennett.
Mason,
No,
or,
it was-
I'm sorry, Bennett Road.
Bennett Road was bluegrass.
and I talked to Rigger the other day, and they're supposed to start on Mason Road. I know they haven't started yet, though, have they? I want to get done before winter.
I do too.
Everyone's so far behind with the.
They are. Everybody's busy, everybody's
No.
behind.
The rain is what done it.
Rain's hurt everybody.
I make a motion to approve the claims presented this evening on the general fund, road fund, and jail fund dated October 22nd, along with the requested transfers as presented.
I will second.
Okay. Obviously. Call the roll, Pat.
Okay, Magistrate Newman,
Yes.
Magistrate Riley,
Yes.
Magistrate Coker.
Yes.
Steve, does that include any claims from Blue Ridge? Bluegrass, sorry. In the transfer of funds?
We paid it, yeah.
They're changing notice?
I don't know if y'all know this, not to change subject, but the previous court, see what happens a lot of time, and they didn't bid it this way, but they bid it by tonnage. And because Owen County, I called the judge on that, if it's over tonnage, they pay the extra, which I don't think's right. But I don't think they measured the road correctly. You, Steve?
They didn't.
But in the past, the court has split the difference. And that's what we did on this, we won't have to get it.
Should never have set a precedent.
Hmm?
Should never have set that precedent, period. That's
Well,
wrong.
that's been accepted before.
They should eat it. They didn't go out there too lazy to go out there and measure it. They don't deserve no money.
This is a prime example as to why the overall bidding process needs to be updated. And to Steve's point, probably going the route of what the majority of other communities do, which is bid it based off of tonnage and require the outfits, whoever, to actually require them to go and measure the roads. Because many of the roads, our rural roads, are difference in width. Many of them have areas that have sunk down, which takes more material. And a lot of these places are just bidding what they see in the paper.
They'd have got off the guff and went out there and done it, they'd known.
Well, I agree
That's
with you.
true.
They should go out and check, the other guys did.
That,
That's what I'm saying.
that amount here, $5,381, is that what the difference was?
Yes, it is. We split the difference.
Yes, it was.
It was twice, it was double that,
It was more than that. It was times two.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look at the other bids, the other one was like 11,000, 12.
You're still way under the other bid.
Second, yeah.
Plus, the tonnage is on the road. It ain't like they didn't put it on the road.
It's there.
This man right here is the one that was out there with him. He lives on that road, so I'm sure it's on
It's
there.
there.
And if you divide that up, that $5,138 into tons, if it was 160 tons over, you're coming out with $31 a ton, which is $17 a ton cheaper than we can buy it. So we got a real deal. I know you think we didn't, but we did. Do the math, it's simple.
And back to what Jacqueline said, until they get out there and start putting that blacktop down, they don't.
Because they didn't go on site and see it with their eyes and see the
Right.
variance in that road.
You're
It
right.
widened up toward the end, didn't it, Steve?
Yes, it gets
Yeah, I don't
wider
think
as
they
it
do.
goes. All of our roads go in and out.
It's,
They were all goat paths at one time.
some still are, but we're working to address it.
I know that. I agree.
Yeah, my goats get out on her all the time.
Yeah, we're down to Peggy's.
Okay, we have the cash position report, there's no action required. Present for review the September reports on Grant County Animal Shelter, Grant County Building Inspector, and Grant County Road Inspector. No action is required. Present for review the Grant County Coroner's report. There's no action required. Okay, we have a resignation by one of our, I hate to say this, Frencho, one of the finest young men I ever met in my life. He resigned, I think he's going to work for the Sheriff's Department. Brennan, he was top notch help. Well, I hate to see him go, he was good. But we have his resignation from Grant County Road Department. I know we had to vote on that or not. We had to vote
I put it on there to make a motion.
on that. Well, we have a motion to accept his resignation.
I make a motion to accept Brendan Dill's resignation of the road department.
If we don't approve this, we'll get him back.
Bob, I don't know.
I'll second.
It's too late, Bob, he's already wearing uniform.
Say,
Yeah,
I
I've
see him in
seen
the cruiser today.
He was a fine worker. Okay.
Did you second that, Bobby?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh,
Okay.
Bobby Newman, or
Yes,
Master
yes.
Newman, Magistrate Brown,
Yes,
Magistrate Copeland,
Yes.
and Judge Reed.
yes. Okay, I just got 2 or 3 things, guys, I want to talk to you about. One is, I'm gonna brag on our building inspector a little bit. He was worth every penny we paid him. I know we had words about what to pay him, but he just saved us $8,000 the other day on that porch that's collapsing out there on the clerk's office. We got 2 bids, and then he knew another guy came in and got a bid. It was $6,000 versus $14,000, and same specs and everything. Same specs. And probably because the other 2 were so busy, they just bid us high price, to be honest with you. And it's Morris J. Webster, he does a lot of concrete forming and everything, and he's gonna do the railings and everything. And he's gonna do the sidewalk too.
Where was this at?
Not speak up.
On the side?
Oh,
it's
you don't know?
what's,
Oh,
this is
yeah,
what's, it's barricaded off.
That ain't gonna happen.
Okay.
yeah, you need to look at that.
Okay.
It's
Is it on
very-
this side
It's
or-
very, yeah, it's on the courthouse side.
Okay.
On the courthouse side.
Is that put out?
Next thing I want,
Was that put out to bid, RFP or an IFB?
we put it out for bids in the paper, and we got 3 bids.
No, we didn't have to do that because it fell under the threshold.
Yeah, that's
got
right,
it.
that's right.
Okay.
Now there's something I want to talk to you 3 about, and Bobby, I didn't hear from you, so maybe you didn't get it. But my maintenance guy called Rick Rose and said, I want you to go and give me a bid on 2 jail cells over there. And he never heard from him again. Next thing I know, I'm getting a bill for $10,000. And what happened is he went over to the jail and said, we're here representing the fiscal court, and we're supposed to fix all the lights in the jail. And they let him do it without a PO, no purchase order, or nothing.
Here we go
Let him
again.
do it. Now, here's my question to the magistrate. Said, I mean, you all put some input if you want to too. But I have not paid that bill yet, and he did do the work. But I think it's way high. And on the billing, he didn't put, what manpower he used. Was it 1 or 2 guys at a time? He didn't put the cell number. All he put was his hours, just like an attorney does. And I called Rick, and I said, Rick, I said, hey, what are you doing? He said, well, I did the work. But he didn't put any equipment down he put up or anything. And right now, I'm at the point, I don't think I'm gonna pay him anything, but he did do the work. But of course, I called the jail to talk to Chris, and what's the other guy's name? Yeah, Jimmy Shanks. Jimmy Shanks was hired by the jail September 1st to do maintenance. I called him and see if he could have done the work. He said he could have, but Chris didn't use him, so it cost us $7,900. I mean, $9,700. And I was pretty upset. I won't hide it. I was very upset. I can't believe they did it without a PO number or anything.
Chris Hackett specifically told him to go ahead and do the work.
They talked over there and they said to go ahead and do the work since the fiscal court told him to do it. But we did not tell him to do it, Bobby.
I don't think we need to pay him.
Well, the other clarity is, to Steve's point, the invoice that we reviewed, it is extremely vague. It doesn't say the number of light bulbs that were changed. It just says various or numerous light bulbs, so it doesn't give the number on how many was changed, nor did it indicate the location, so what cell it was changed. It's a very vague invoice, in my opinion. So my input was to seek further clarity on a more detailed, like an itemized statement, because it's extremely vague.
Well, the same thing on the road bid. I mean, you know, if he does not give us an itemized list of what he did, along with invoices to back it up, he could put any number out there and want us to pay for it.
Well, the bigger issue is there was work done that wasn't pre-authorized. There was no approval.
I've got a question for Joe, legal
What
wise.
I'm hearing of it, I want to get more details.
Yes.
But what I'm hearing off the cuff is that somebody else tried to obligate the fiscal court to pay for something that the fiscal court did not approve. If that's the case, there's no authority for that, and you don't owe them a dime.
And I recommend we don't pay him a dime. That's the way I feel about
I
it.
need to get more information first from what I'm hearing, that's simple.
Well, Josh Rourke is a new guy over there, and he and Chris talked about it.
Chris just told him to do it, the fiscal court agreed it.
But they went over, the 2 guys that went in and said, hey, we're over here for the fiscal court check to do the lights. And I talked to Josh, and Josh, can't you at least make a phone call and see if this is right? And you're going against the grain too, because you gotta have a PO number. He goes, well, I guess you're right, you know. But also, what really irked me, and I was mad at Chris, he had a guy that could have done the work just in the jail. And I called, what's his name, the new man?
Mr. Shanks?
Yeah, Chris Shanks, and he's very capable, very capable. He says, Steve, I could have done it, they didn't ask me. So anyway, very frustrating.
And the bill's $9,700, which is just happens to be 300 under where you'd have to bid it out also, because isn't it 10,000?
It's 20,000.
Oh, it's 20 now?
Yeah,
Okay, well, forget that then.
So what I'm saying, I don't think I will pay unless Joe makes me. I mean, Joe will have an input in this.
I would like to get all of the details to be sure, but based on what I've heard at this point, no, you're not obligated to pay it.
Well, the fact remains that he didn't even have a PO number suggests a whole lot there, and Mr. Rose has been in the business a long time.
Yes.
So to say that he shouldn't have had some kind of formal
I agree with you.
requisition.
Well, and
That-
our building
that's
maintenance man, Jason, had showed me the email that he sent to Rick.
Yeah.
And it said, I need a quote for the X block, cell block. He didn't mention any other areas of the detention center.
Yeah, they went and did the whole thing.
And then when I got the bill, They had done the whole.
And as far
I
as
don't
I
wanna make a
can,
final answer without having all the
Yeah,
information,
right.
based on what I'm hearing, that's the.
and I guess, as far as I'm concerned, if the details are right, I don't care if he produces another invoice or not, it's not gonna make any difference.
That's
I'm
true.
not gonna pay, not gonna pay the bill.
I talked to Rick, he's expecting to be paid, I said, I don't think that's gonna fly, Rick, we'll do some checking. But I said, you gotta get a PO number, you've been working for us for years, he knows he's gotta get a PO number. Anyway, that's sad. And then the last thing I just wanna say is, if you all haven't checked out behind the clerk's office, and I know I mentioned it once before, but the handicap parking was really well done. And those people did it, I, along with our maintenance guy, Jason, and myself, we kind of watched it real closely. But they just did a bang-up job, and I hope everybody here goes out and looks at it. It's something to really be proud of, it really is. And I don't know how many inmates we got, because I could get a jail tracker. Does anybody know how many inmates we got?
383 this morning.
Thank you. Where'd you get a jail tracker? I couldn't bring it up before I got up there, okay. I don't know what it is.
How many did you say, Brian?
There was 383 this morning.
You know how many are county inmates or?
It doesn't break it down for you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, that's all I've got.
Steve, need to have the elevator work.
Yeah, I know.
Elevator's fixed.
Hey, y'all don't need a PO number to fix that, do I?
I'll
just go ahead and fix it.
We gotta fix it, because Shauna carried me up the steps. She came up here, she carried me, I didn't carry her.
I got news.
Yeah.
I had to stop the beauty.
I have a question. There was a recent inspection of the jail
That's gonna be
facility.
it's coming day after tomorrow.
It's gonna be released the day after tomorrow?
No.
We're going over to jail. Bob, you wanna go?
No, the DOJ, the DOJ assessment.
Oh, we got that.
Yeah,
And
I'll
And
probably
what?
FOIA it,
Is that no one's
but,
died so far. The best line
It
was that
didn't
no
turn
one's
out
died
too
so
good.
far
I
this year.
didn't look.
okay.
That was the best line in it.
So,
There's a big disagreement on the medical, and I agree with Joe on this. They want us to do it like for a federal jail, I mean, we'd like to hire like psychiatrists and stuff like that, but that jail, I don't.
A lot of the report, in a nutshell, in my opinion, has a lot to do with Mr. Webster will be hot and heavy in dealing with this in his new role. A lot to do with the medical, to Steve's point, financially, there's no way that this county could afford that. However, I think when they did do the inspection, the new folks probably hadn't been there long enough. There needs to be continuous revision on policies and procedures, better training of the workers, and those types of things. So frankly, as I read through the report, it's this, in my opinion, and Joe, you can attest to this, I feel like it's the same thing, and what we have done still isn't enough.
so it's more operational related than facility
I think it's more health
related?
related.
Because we own the facility, right? The fiscal court owns the facility.
I think
The
the
jailer
cleanliness,
operates
I
the
think it needs to be
operations.
clean, which is sad, because cleaning, there's inmate labor there, to me, that's disappointing. I think cleanliness was on there, but I think the infrastructure part, I don't recall there being much of an issue. It had a whole lot to do with medical, with documentation, with training of the staff, with staffing period, which all of this is administrative stuff. And I also believe that the timing of the review probably didn't go in the report's favor, as far as the transition when they were there from the one agency to the other that's doing the health. But frankly, you ask me, there's a whole lot of things they want us to do, which I think this goes back to Mr. Rose's opinion of, is it a mandate or is it a recommendation? And we're not housing federal prisoners there. And at the end of the day, what are you going to use? The occupational tax that you implemented to keep up the jail when we've got roads falling down? So it's...
Well, that Christian that came in here a few months ago and his two assistants and said, flat told this court that if they didn't take his recommendations, corrections Frankfurt would come down there and shut it down. He said, you better heed me.
Who said that?
I don't remember what his name was. It was about 4 months ago.
From Georgia.
Oh,
Alabama.
the
Alabama, yeah.
Yeah, the Alabama gang.
Good. it said they could shut.
Well,
If you're
all-
dealing with an enforcement entity, a regulatory entity, when they tell you a recommendation, that is basically a mandate. When you've got
Probably.
violations and they tell you, this is the recommendation to get you into non-violation, that's more of a mandate than just a recommendation, a suggestion. It's a real nice way of putting it, but it's not a suggestion.
Excuse me, if it doesn't say must or shall, there's no enforcement in it, it's just a recommendation.
You can go ahead and say that, but
Well-
once they come in and they say, we have given you the recommendations and you haven't followed them and you're still in violation, but.
Then you
that's
just push back on them with an attorney.
Shut her down.
Yep.
Did they use the word violation, or did they use, here's our findings, you should
No.
have,
No.
you know?
You get a copy of the
I
report.
don't recall, I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
I mean, but at the end of the day, there still needs to be a
Something
partnership with continuing to improve that facility in the very best way we can, from staffing to training to, in my opinion, probably continuing to tweak the medical. Here recently, I just did a quick analysis. We've spent, this administration has spent on average over $200,000 more in medical than any previous administration on that jail. And to me, you look at that report and it's still not enough.
Yeah, that's very
And so
true.
that's disheartening, and we're just gonna have to continue to tweak and look at what coverage can be there, because they even get to the details of a licensed, an LPN versus an RN versus a psychiatrist, they want a doctor there, you know, so it's a lot. And with that comes a large price tag.
I've got 23 hours in psychology, can I get the job?
Well, yeah. I'll
Just
give it
walk
to
in
you.
and don't give us a
As long as you-
PO,
As long as your psychiatrist, as long as your psychiatrist approves you.
I know her real well. We'll do that.
Another thing I seen in the report was there was, to me, a little bit of disconnect between what we were getting and what Quality Care said that they were providing. I seen that a little bit of the consistency in the report. You know, even though they might have wanted more, but was we really getting what we wanted? And without us being over there, you know, and watching it on a daily basis, that's an administrative duty to make sure that we are getting from our provider what we expected to
Right.
get.
That goes back to managing their contract, which goes back to operations.
Yes,
Exactly.
and that's where they
There
kept
was probably a
reverting
lot of
back,
that.
reverting back to the policy and procedures.
Well, the last three, I'm gonna say it, forgive me, Lord. Anyway, the last three jailers, every one of them had that same kind of report about the personnel, the training, constantly. It's always there, always there. Where's the fix? That's all I'm asking.
Hopefully it's that gentleman
We've got
sitting
that
right there
gentleman
behind
coming
you.
Right behind
in. We got that gentleman, the fix is sitting right behind you.
Yeah, I think one thing,
That's why.
one thing we're being faced with too, especially on the psychological side, is the opioid epidemic and the
Yeah.
number of people you got in the jail now related to drugs. Well, there's really a push to fix this psychologically, and, you know, I think that's where your federal is coming from too. You need these psychiatrists, you need these transition things.
And
so.
Shauna, to that point, even at the state level, one thing that the jail always had going for it was North Key right down the road. And when the state funding shrunk as well, that report even reflects, and now you even have less, because those resources were reduced even at the state level, as well, and it's reflected in that report, which we've known, and there's budget cuts everywhere.
But for the drug problem, the president has got $7 billion that the federal government has allocated for that. And in that paper I gave you, there's grants out that you can apply for that. And Mercy something Care in Lee County did that. So.
Get that info to Mr. Webster.
Okay, all righty. Well, I think we need to have a motion to close out the meeting, if somebody would do that.
Steve, I've got a petition here, several names on that bridge, so
Sure.
who should I give that to? You?
Me. I've been out your way talking to people quite a bit. I just felt like I was lying to them all.
Well, yeah, you
I know
started to
you,
feel like.
I called you about getting some asphalt, putting that old bridge, and you got that done. I'd called a lot of people, and it was so bad, everything going in and out there was dragging.
Oh, it was
And,
terrible.
So I appreciate you getting that done.
Well, you're welcome. That's something I can control, you know. It was so bad, I didn't even want my mother-in-law to go over it. Maybe. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah.
Approve that.
You have to get that notarized. Does that have to get notarized, that petition? I'm just asking. Well, I'm just.
Nice to have you.
I went out there on